Hello! Here's another video I don't want to make, but I probably should. The UK government has responded to the new petition. You know, the one about trying to stop publishers from destroying video games they've already sold to you. And despite having clearer wording, a new parliament, and a new dominant political party, the answer is awfully familiar. So familiar, in fact, I think it might even be the same people answering it. This is going to be another one of those videos where we look at the government response step by step. So if that sounds like torture to you, here's the short version so you can stop watching this. They actually gave a direct answer, which is no, we're not going to do anything. But then pretty much every explanation and justification for that answer is not related to what we're asking for, but sounds similar. Like if I said pubs are not allowed to serve alcohol after 11 p.m. because the cost of liquor has gone up 20%, that sounds related to the answer, but it's really not. In fact, what they're doing here is so clear-cut, it made me look up those list of fallacies to figure out which one they're using. I'm actually still not sure, but I think it's either irrelevant conclusion or maybe just formal fallacy, where the conclusion does address the question, but all of the reasons given for that conclusion are unrelated, but sound related. I'll let debate people figure that one out. Anyway, the bottom line is keep signing the initiative. This answer was from the Department of Culture, Media and Sport, not UK Parliament. And they're providing no coherent explanation for their answer. If we can get to 100,000 signatures, then we can leapfrog them entirely and make members of Parliament deal with this instead. Now, I've seen a lot of negative comments about UK Parliament, which are probably well-founded, but right now, the bar has been set so low for a response, I don't see how they could do any worse. The Department of Culture could have said no because reasons, and saved a lot of writing without losing any of their meaning. So that's the takeaway. Keep signing. This answer is a roadblock. If enough people sign it, we get to skip over it. Okay, you can stop watching here if you want. Or if you want to dig through the trash with me going over this answer, stick around, because that's what's next. Okay, now I was going to go line by line here, and I'll still do some of that. But when I was reading this, I had deja vu. That's because they copied and pasted half the answer. Actually, more than half. In some cases, it's literally the exact same words. Yeah, you remember. The old answer that was so bad the Petitions Committee rejected it and asked them to do it again because they weren't addressing the actual complaint? Except then Parliament dissolved, so they never got around to it? Yeah, that answer. Well, it looks like the UK government is up to their old tricks. Here, I went and highlighted all the parts that are either literally saying the exact same thing as before, or else are lightly paraphrased. Wow, that's almost the whole damn document. This video is going to be shorter than I thought. You can download this image in the description if you want to double check my work here. I'll still give the quick tour, but watch this video if you want the extended version, because I've literally already covered most of this. Remember, this original is an answer that was already rejected by the old Petitions Committee. But apparently, it's good enough for the new one. That's kind of like serving trash for dinner. Okay, let's look at the start here. There are no plans to amend UK consumer law on disabling video games. To their credit, that is a clear answer and the least ambiguous part out of all of this. Though it's worth pointing out we weren't asking to prevent disabling games. We want to prevent disabling with no possibility for customers to keep or repair them. In other words, don't destroy every working copy of the game that ever existed and was sold to the public. I know, I'm a radical. Okay, now this part is interesting. I can't tell if this is an open admission that they're being lobbied and are going to write what the industry tells them to. That's open to interpretation. I'll let you be the judge. This part is mostly a formality of saying, we hear you, but this also contains the sneakiest line in the entire document, in my opinion. We have no plans to amend existing consumer law on digital obsolescence. This is doubly sneaky. First of all, we've had some pretty good advisors on this, and their first response to this statement was, what laws on digital obsolescence? In fact, I have a quote from one of them. The government has utterly sidestepped the entire concept of repairability in their response. Yeah, spoiler, and indicated a concept of digital obsolescence exists written into UK legislation, which, so far as anyone can see, does not? Yeah, by all means fact check us on that. If there are UK laws on digital obsolescence that apply to this situation whatsoever, let us know. Hell, you can email me. Now, I'm giving the UK government the benefit of the doubt that these laws are just obscure and not completely fabricated. But let's find out if we can. Because that would be a classy move if the UK government is dismissing us by referring to laws that don't exist. I mean, if we wanted that, we could just talk to an AI. But that's getting ahead of ourselves. But like I said, this is doubly sneaky. Because notice how this says digital obsolescence, not programmed obsolescence or planned obsolescence? You know, like how the petition did, and we only had 500 characters to work with there, so we considered this part really damn important? Well, circling back to those logical fallacies again, digital obsolescence is a similar but different concept. See, look, Wikipedia is showing disk rot on a Laserdisc. Or say you bought a video game for the PlayStation 3, but it doesn't work on the PlayStation 5. Well, that's just the passage of time, not a deliberate decision by the publisher to destroy the original content. That's a pretty huge difference. We're asking about the deliberate destruction of video games. Sony did not destroy all PlayStation 3 games when the PlayStation 5 came out. But no, this is actually triply sneaky, because it says amend existing consumer law on digital obsolescence, which is a little awkward, but that could instead mean on grounds of digital obsolescence. So I think they're either referring to law that doesn't exist, or else they're flat out saying not only do games not qualify, but nothing digital qualifies to have protections against planned obsolescence. Well, that would suck, but that would be a clear and honest answer, unlike most of this document, assuming that's what they mean. This line fooled all of us. You tell me, what the hell does this line mean? And now we're deep into repeated territory again, so I'll just give some highlights. Again, I've already talked about this in other videos. The super short version of CPR 2008 is the industry is almost certainly violating this on a systemic scale, but even if that's solved, it won't solve the issue we're petitioning about. Remember, we want to retain a working game or be able to repair it. The CPR and CRA both take us down a pipeline where you would just be given store credit at best. I know it says the customer is entitled to a replacement or repair, but that's a red herring. That's not how the law is set up on this. In real world terms, all the company has to do is say they don't want to fix it, then give out some coupons essentially, then that's it. Then they can keep breaking the next game and so on. Yeah, it's almost like somebody should write a petition to address this exact issue on how the current law doesn't let us keep or repair games. And up next, I do have to respect the gall of them to wheel out some classics we saw the first time. There is no requirement in UK law for software companies to support older versions of their products. Yeah, good thing we're not asking for that, either this time or last time. Oh look, again! It may be difficult and expensive for businesses to maintain support for old software. Yes, hence why we're not asking for that. Companies make decisions on the high running cost of maintaining older servers for games with declining user bases. Yeah, decisions like robbing customers? Yeah, we understand that part. So between these two answers, that's what? 6 times now they've told us it's expensive for businesses to support old software? Exactly how many times do we need to tell them this isn't what we're asking for and have never asked for? Now, the first time they did this, I thought they just misunderstood, but seeing them wheel this out again, now I'm thinking they have to be doing this on purpose. Because we went out of our way to word it so this time there was no ambiguity so this wouldn't happen again. And they went and did it again. So I have to conclude either they just didn't read the petition and only read the title, because yeah, 300 characters is a lot to ask. Or they don't want to address this because it makes them look bad, so they're pretending it's about something else. That's such a dishonest tactic if so. Though it wouldn't be the first time I've seen someone do that on this campaign. And of course, since I can only make videos so fast, the news cycles are way ahead of me and are parroting their response uncritically. So they're largely successful in subverting the narrative. So now even more people think we're asking for endless support. Just one after the other report this like the issue is settled. And wait, what? A disjointed statement that seems to misunderstand the core issues raised? The issue with this statement is that it missed the point of the petition entirely? Oh my god! It's an actual journalist! He looks chill as hell, too. Well, congratulations, Dual Shockers! You did the impossible and actually reported on this accurately! I swear to God in this campaign, it feels like I'm explaining alien technology to people when I say we're not asking for endless support. At least one games media site gets it. I admit, having all your work misrepresented across the internet isn't great for morale. But what can you do? Back to the answer, them mentioning again and again about the cost of business for something we're not asking for really ties in nicely with them saying they're working with industry representatives up here. Are they working with consumer representatives also? Or is this a one-way street? Now, I'm not saying the Department of Culture, Media, and Sport is corrupt. I'm saying it looks like they could be corrupt from how they're answering this. This actually makes me think the wording of our complaint didn't even matter that much, because that's not the complaint they wanted to answer. After all, that would have required them to do more than copy and paste old answers, old rejected answers. Now this new part might give you hope, saying terms and conditions by a trader must not be unfair. Yeah, that's an excellent point. Remember, the terms of the seller are being able to disable your purchase at any time for any reason, giving you no time frame for how long your product will work when it's 100% under their control, and deliberately prevent all repair options for when they disable your product. What could be more fair? Well, to quote one of the advisors on the courts here, this isn't helpful. It gets complicated, but it's a similar story as before. The most likely outcome is store credit. The next most likely outcome will be financial compensation on a minuscule level. Nothing systemic. And this would all be way more expensive for the consumer. So this is another dead end under UK law. I know I keep saying this, but remember what the petition was about. The courts don't get us there. Okay, all this stuff I've talked about in the other video. And it also doesn't help with what we petitioned about. Now, as for the Competition and Markets Authority, that was also covered in the previous video. A lot could depend on this, but the CMA is still determining how many rights you're actually going to have regarding digital ownership. If it's promising, I really don't want to, but then that means I should probably launch another campaign just for the UK to mass report games that have shut down. Though maybe. Remember that 6 years line? We still don't know if that means 6 years from the time of purchase, or from the time of shutdown, or if that's just for the CRA and not the CPR 2008. Again, the law was never written for this kind of situation. It wasn't written for sellers to remotely disable products you already bought. So if that works against us, then we're screwed, because then they will have catch-22'd us. And that's if it's favorable. If the CMA just laughs at the idea of digital ownership, then this is a dead end also. So this is all a giant unknown. And yes, this says April, but I was originally told August of last year, so who knows what the real time is. So that's the reply. A copied and pasted answer that doesn't fit the complaint. Now, they did say no, I have to give them credit for that, but then all the reasons why are either unrelated or are sending us to agencies that can't fix the problem. Like, say you ask for a bucket to haul water. This answer would be the equivalent of saying you really only need a wicker basket to carry bread. Yes, but we're asking for a bucket to carry water. The wicker basket isn't going to hold much water. Well, no water for us, I guess. I would say they're misunderstanding what we're asking for, except it's the second time they're doing this. And 3/4 of it were copied from an answer rejected by the old Petitions Committee because it didn't address the problem. So, either they're grossly incompetent or are straight up gaslighting us. Because hey, they're working with industry representatives and had to tell us 6 times now how hard it is for businesses to do something we're not asking for. I mean, you've probably seen the old Upton Sinclair quote. I think it's just as relevant today. You know, I've gotten some heat before about my political cynicism, but I hope you can at least see where some of that's coming from. Hey, bonus points. This old answer was under the department being led by Conservative Party members. This new one is the department being led by Labour Party members. Wow, what an amazing opposition party. Look at all that opposition. I mean, they're running it. Look, there they are. This is their turf. Okay, maybe I'm being too dour and the new Petitions Committee will come through and ask for an answer that actually addresses the problem. But I don't know, it feels like we're constantly out on a limb here. Now, what I think people don't get, including almost every news article covering this, is this isn't the end of the line in the UK. We have two options left. The Competition and Markets Authority is still in the running, but that's still an unknown. Now, the Department of Culture, Media, and Sport is obviously compromised, but if we can make it to 100,000 signatures, then this gets kicked to Parliament, and we get to leapfrog over this garbage answer. I mean, say what you will about UK Parliament, I actually have more faith that they'll be able to read the petition, or at least the main part that's 300 characters. That would automatically make them more competent on this than the Department of Culture, Media, and Sport. I admit, I am impressed that the UK tops literally every country I've seen on this issue for giving the most passive-aggressive, non-answer answer. So if you would like to voice your dissent for this disgrace of an answer and actually have a chance of stopping the problem, keep signing. We have over 5 months. Tell your family and friends if they're eligible. It's not hard to sign this. And to end this on a positive note, my entire experience with the UK government makes me really glad we've been able to raise this issue in France, Germany, and Australia. Because in all of those cases, they've actually understood the problem and are giving it real consideration. Can you believe they're actually reading through game license agreements to see if their terms are legal or not? It's just night and day compared to this. I would be tearing my hair out if the UK was our only chance. Okay, that's it. The Department of Culture, Media, and Sport is run by clowns that are copying someone else's homework with the wrong answers on it, and might be so corrupt they're misunderstanding everything on purpose. See ya!